Alright, we're gonna start our video in the basement. We've got this four-way working. This switch here does this light, as does the switch on the other side of this door. Oh, sorry, that one, the far one. The other one does this room, which we'll get to that in a moment. In fact, we'll just do that right now. So this is a four-way switch, so it switches in 3 locations. One here at the back door. It does both lights as long as that fan chain is pulled. If the fan chain is pulled, it will not do that light until it is turned back on at the fixture again. And then this switch right here, right next to the trim, is the 3rd switch that does these lights. The stairway has one at the top and the bottom. They both turn it on. This room is just a single pole. Go ahead and turn this light off. All right. This switch here controls this light. This one, I'm pretty sure, goes to the blower motor for the fireplace, which has a heat sensor so that the blower motor does not turn on unless there is a substantial amount of heat. So this switch right here is for the ceiling fan on the back porch, which should have a remote to it. There's a receiver up in there, which means it's probably a DC motor. So putting that on 2 switches is not going to happen. And then this is just a dummy switch. We didn't have a 2-gain cover plate on us. But this is for this light here, which also switches just inside the kitchen, right there, the one with the question mark currently by it, furthest away from the door trim. This switch controls this outlet right next to it. So if this is off, that outlet will not have power. This one turns on the 2 wall sconces outside. There's one on either side of this glass door. Yeah, you can't see it from inside here. There it is. We've removed the receptacles that were there and there on the posts, as well as the light and switch under the crawl space and the sub panel that was over here that was powering all of them, and some old hot tub, and we capped that off. So the 100-amp breaker in that meter main does nothing. It's just there. I'll show you underneath the deck real quick. So you can see that everything down here has been removed. There's a bunch of conduit down here, which is currently in the back of my truck, so I'll dispose of that. Alright, we're gonna go back inside where it's a lot warmer. Well, it's warmed up a little bit from this morning. Do need new light bulbs for this fan. They take the small base. These are the light bulbs that were in the fan. You can see that black mark on the inside. Yeah, that's a sure sign that they do not work. And all 3 of them have it. Alright, so this switch when we got here was a three-way switch where it only needed a single pole. And this switch was a single pole where it needed a three-way. So we fixed that so that now this kitchen light can be turned off. Both here and right next to the trim right here, both control this same light. In this room, it's just a single pole switch. This light, when we got here, there's a switch right here in the hallway that was the only thing that turned on the living room light. And there was no way to turn on a light as you came through that main door. So we ran a jumper from here over to here because we, through our testing, found out that this three-way here and this one right here, right next to the door, were connected. So it only made sense to make them control this main light, which they now do. Show you a couple times. Switch right next to it. We got a light right here. That is the second switch from the door. And you see this light with three heads out here in the yard. And that one is controlled, I believe. So it's the second switch here in the bank of three. You can see that little glow in the light right there, turning on and off. That's the middle switch. And these other two control receptacles that are out here. One right there, and then one on the wall right below this window. If this receptacle does not have power, there's a GFI also right here on the other side of this window that will need to be reset and or replaced depending on the condition of that GFI at the time. But most likely it will just need reset because that GFI gives this outlet power and all three of these switches power. So if that GFI is tripped, this outlet, this outdoor light, and these outdoor receptacles will not work. So, and then the hallway works properly between this switch and this switch. You can see here, bathroom, light, ceiling fan, or not ceiling fan, but bath fan. You can hear that white noise a little bit. Simple single pole switch. Everything else is controlled by chain. This other bedroom is the same way. And then this fan in here was just controlled by the pull chains because the switch was not hooked up. Only half of it was hooked up behind the fan. So we're about done putting that back together.